think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
Do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not.
I'll try.
Yeah, so as we were saying, fuck Doug Ford is what we were saying.
Fuck Doug Ford, indeed.
Yeah. Okay, just a little primer for the non-Canadians and the non-Ontarians. So there's a fucking loophole in our Constitution, whereby if the premier of a province, and I guess if they have a majority government, we're a federalist sort of structure. Although we have a federal government, we have like provinces are like states. And so if states decide to violate the Constitution, all they really need to say is, notwithstanding the fact that we're violating the Constitution, such and such is the case. And so if they've got a majority government, they can just pass legislation that basically, for all intents and purposes, violates the Constitution but doesn't. Yeah.
Never been done before, except twice by this current government.
Yeah. And for piddly things, can I be fair? Like
this is petty shit.
Yeah. Well, no, like the original reason he used it was for like city council structure and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? I don't care how city council gets structured. Maybe I should care a lot more, but I didn't really care. It felt like a low threshold activity. And then what was the second reason he did it, or is it just this is the second one? Okay, all right. And in this time, he basically has attacked all labor everywhere, for all intents and purposes throughout Canada. Because if this works here, there's no province in Ontario in Canada that's not going to, like with a conservative government, enact similar legislation. And that legislation is so we got education workers who, sorry, Chris, you already know this, but just so people can follow along, we have education workers, and they're in a bargaining situation, and admittedly they're asking for a pretty steep wage hike, and it's reasonable, but it's steep, and it was never realistic to begin with. However, they decided that they were going to go on strike, and rather than the provincial government dealing with it how these things are usually dealt with, which is usually through interest arbitration, they've chosen to unilaterally enforce a contract upon these workers, and, notwithstanding the fact that it's not constitutional, restrict their right to challenge this action in the Supreme Court, or in any court, for like a 5-year period. They put a delay on their court challenge, and it's insane. It is a massive attack against the right to collective bargaining, and will, if successful, prove to be a model that could fucking obliterate labor throughout this entire country. And it's do or die time, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, there's no way that you escalated to a point where you have to protest now. You have to break the law, because this is like, you're just putting it all on the table. This is like, it's now or never.
Yeah, I've been at 2 protests now. I'm gonna keep going. Like this is it. Like this is the line in the sand where, like, you got to show up. You have to put your body somewhere, wherever the fuck people are chanting with their stupid speeches and their fucking bullshit. I hear you. It's lame. They're waving their flags and stuff. It's fucking lame, but show up. Show up anyway, because you don't have to cheer. You don't have to chant. You don't have to do any of that bullshit. You just got to be physically there and tell people that, like, this is enough. And so if you're a Canadian out there right now, this is the only preaching I'm going to be doing about this. Get out there now. I'm not prone to hyperbole, I don't think. I tend to like let things slide if I feel they can be slid, but this is far more important than, I don't know, anything that you're worried about right now. So, like your Game of Thrones or whatever, not important. Labor
PBR it. PBR it and get out there.
That's right. Yeah, PBR it. There, that's the conciliatory action.
And I should find a protest myself, because I've not been out, but you make a good point.
Well, and I don't know, it's fine. It's there's going to be plenty. Like this is going to be going on for a while. Like remember his brother shut down Toronto with the garbage strike. How long did he do that? Like garbage, but
yeah,
I think he's treating it like a garbage strike. I think like that's how it's in his head right now. That's the kind of strike he thinks that is happening right now.
Yeah.
And the kind of battle he thinks he's happening, like it's petty city politics, and it's careless. Like he just dropped a tactical nuclear weapon in a war, and he doesn't realize how things are going to escalate, or maybe he does.
Yeah, I really don't think they do, and that is very much the MO of this government. Like, get yourself into a situation, backpedal to the point of trying to find a happy medium, and then just people let it slide. That's they love this dipshit, so it's working out. But this is a big deal. Yeah, and sorry, go ahead.
No, please.
No, something I read, something that boiled my blood was that there was I think it was the head of maybe the automotive union or one of them, who's saying like, we endorsed Doug Ford, but we didn't think that this was on the table. That wasn't part of his platform. It's like, what the fuck did you think was going to happen with any conservative government? They're not going to be the friend of labor. So never endorse these fucks.
Yeah. As many houses and as many whatever, like, as much of the environment as they're promising to bulldoze, so that way you can like put sticks together and like use fire to make metal stick, all that stuff, like at the end of the day, they're not really going to care about your rights, and like you're going to be the first fucking people on the chopping block because you're the slaves, like you're the wage slaves, you're the people who build the pyramid, and they will just as happy get a whip out and take it to your back, because that's all they really want to do anyway. So yeah, it's fucking stupid. And admittedly, though, who thought that this was on the table? Like I was shocked. I'm still shocked. Like I'm deeply troubled and very shocked that it's suddenly come to this, just like one day. Because they could have fucked labor over, like governments usually fuck labor over, which is what I said was interest arbitration.
Yeah, at the negotiation table.
Well, no, actually beyond the negotiation table. Like they could have said, you know what, you guys are going on strike, we'll let you strike for like 2 weeks, and then we're going to legislate you back to work, and then we're going to put a judge in charge of your collective agreement, and the judge is going to give you a shitty collective agreement, but no one's going to fuss because it's like the usual order of events. And he could have just done that, like this was so unnecessary. Like he could have still gotten what he wanted. He still could have been the Law and Order premier, which is what he wants. Like he just wants to, like, he's the tough guy. He's a fucking, people keep calling him a bully, and like at this point, I'm like, yeah, he's a fucking bully. But he could have been a smart bully. He could have been like the usual sort of bully that just bulldozers people.
Yeah.
And instead, he just like threw up. I already used the metaphor of a tactical nuclear weapon, so I don't know what other metaphor to use, but it was just stupid. Fuck.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry for all that. That's pretty intense for an episode about the cat-eyed boy. Let's talk about Barbarian for a couple seconds. Is that okay?
Sure, man.
Well, I saw it. I saw the Barbarian. And I glibly referred to it as the worst She-Hulk movie ever, and I kind of stand beside that, but that's just being glib, and that's not really being fair to the movie, because it had a lot of good scares and it was a really interesting sort of like setup. But I think my less glib reaction is that it's a post Get Out movie. It's like, you got your stand-up comedian doing horror about a social issue. I called it, like, in my mind, woke core, and which again is not fair. That's being glib, but it struck me as like of a piece with that sort of. I don't know if that's a trend, but it's certainly something I saw at work in Get Out. Although this is interested in the sort of Me Too movement rather than about slavery. I don't know. Does that make any sense to you as a reaction?
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, with the caveat that like everything you're saying sounds awesome to me, and I really I love that movie. structurally so interesting, so daring in the way it's put together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to say any of Get Out's a great movie. And I didn't like this movie as much, but like I said, it had a lot going for it.
Yeah.
So what what's I don't know, I'm being a dick here, but what's daring about it?
I don't want to get too into.
No, that's fine.
Okay,
if
you're worried about spoilers, fast forward about like 30 seconds or whatever. But yeah, just I'm not going to say too much, but just the structure of it, the way that it just cuts away from the main action to completely different situations.
Oh, to that dude, riding his car.
Cutting and then like building that tension up instantly so that you're like being pulled along with this story and then spinning them all together, then cutting away again to another situation, letting a lot sit unsaid, leading you to read between the lines in some cases. That's mainly it. It's almost like an anthology, like within a single structure movie, which I've never seen before. It's really interesting. The fusion of comedy, just certain scenes, like right in the middle of it, I was dying laughing watching Justin Long go about his business, and I really liked all of it.
And then when the monster comes out, it's appropriately like really awful, and doesn't it could have been really, really lame.
Yes.
I'm trying to share your like hesitancy to give too many details, even though you know me, I don't really care about spoilers. But I'll be kind. It could have been really lame. It could have been like the monster's motivations and actions, and its type of grossness could have failed spectacularly, but it comes together pretty well. I'm not sure what it adds up to. I think that's maybe my problem with the movie, is that it was like a lot of, and maybe it's a problem that could be solved with a little bit of a conversation, but
I kind of understand where you're coming from, because in my mind it kind of adds up to maybe like a lesser Parasite.
Okay.
But with a different slant, with a different, a lot of misdirection. Well, everything's going to be a lesser. Parasite's like one of the best movies ever made. I'm going to go on the record saying that right now. So like, that's not that it's hard to live up to that.
Yeah. I just like that as a sentence, and I like that we're like so coded in our conversation right now. Well, it's kind of a lesser Parasite. And like, no one listening to this knows what well, not no one, but probably many people listening to this know. Yeah, they know. I
have faith in them.
Yeah. Anyone who shows up to talk about Kazuo Umezz. Incidentally, he prefers to be called Umezz nowadays, and they have calling all of his stuff gets labeled Umezz now, like the reprints of Drifting Classroom and Orochi, and Cat-Eyed Boy's going to get a release later in 2023.
You gotta, do you know the reason for that, or like how this became a?
No, he's an 80-year-old man. I don't know. Okay. Like what? That's all I got. For years he was Umezu, and now it's Umezz. And
fair enough.
There might be some sort of reason for it, but fucked if I know. So yeah, Cat-Eyed Boy. These comics are from the 60s. Actually, it's weird. Okay, so it's mostly what we read. We read Volume 1 and Volume 2 of the Dark Horse reprints. They're Dark Horse or are they Viz? Maybe Viz way back when. And
they're Viz.
So they're 67 to 68, and then 68 to 69, and then the last little bit is from 1976. I don't know if that's a typo on my part.
That makes so much sense though, because there does feel like a like their vignettes or like a disconnected quality from the main story here.
They do, yeah, and they're in different magazines. So like the early stuff is in Shonen Gaho, and then Shonen King, and then his later work. He ends up working with Weekly Shonen Sunday, which he does a lot of his later work, like Orochi is in there, and so is Drifting Classroom. And they introduce color and stuff like that. It's in the art's different. Like there's a real difference in the final stories of Volume 2, and I was assuming that they were from the 76 era.
So it's like he's bringing back a beloved character because he has like, a little one shot idea. That's exactly how I imagined it. Like it just felt different.
Yeah, I'm gonna double check while we're talking about that 76 number because it feels wrong. But can I?
And is this all of it? Did we read all of it?
I believe so. Yeah, I think that's it.
Interesting.
76 for the last little bit. Yeah, and it feels very different. Not of a piece. So if you were wondering why that was, then what is? You've seen a picture of this guy at the age of 70, like on his Wikipedia page?
Yeah, he looks like a character.
Yeah, apparently put like albums and musical.
He seems very whimsical. Like very like childlike.
Yeah. Straddling the realm between like shonen and shoujo. Like his work was featured in sort of both types of magazine. Whereas, you got Junji, and I don't know for certain that this is the case, but I think he's mostly published in shoujo manga. I could easily be corrected on that, though, because I haven't really thought about it. But it does feel like that's a major difference between the two. Obviously, Junji cites Umezz as a major influence, and you could totally see it, right? But there is a boyish quality to Umezz's work, particularly in Cat-Eyed Boy. It's very like very boy's adventure, but even Drifting Classroom and
absolutely, yeah. There are parts that even like, I mean, there's a carnivalesque quality to it. There's a lot of reversals, a lot of like the low being brought high and vice versa. True humor, grotesque, and at times it even reminded me a little bit like of Little Nemo or something like that. Like it just had this very surreal quality of like, we're going across the city, but we're riding on the backs of cats and like sort of like just weird stuff happening like that.
Yeah, I was thinking of we might end up just jumping around a lot because I don't know what the value is of. Maybe there is a value of just like going deep on every story, but I think that,
so. Like on a few of them, I think there is.
Yeah, but still to jump ahead, there's that spider reflection.
Oh yeah.
In Volume 2.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about how weird that was, and just like from a different sort of writer, like you would say that it was unnecessary, but it ends up being kind of a piece with the story in general, where like the spider that was in his rucksack is also causing him to feel that his own face is changing into a spider, and he can't trust his own like self-identity. And then he comments. Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. It's like, sorry, even comments. What does he say?
Well, he's like, he even comments on the fact that like how weird it is. He's just like, the horror of thinking that you can't like that your face is not your own or something like that. He's like, it's so frightening. And because the Cat-Eyed Boy like allows us, like he's a viewer identification, but also like a commentary at the same time.
Definitely.
And this you said carnivalesque, and yeah, he's definitely, he allows us to play in that space.
To enjoy the horror, the suffering of, well, not the suffering of others, but like these like weird phantasmagoric situations, and kind of to be drawn to it, but also he also tries to intervene in them too.
Yeah. So okay, give us a brief introduction to what is the Cat-Eye Boy, Chris? What is this fucking thing?
All right. Well, he's a goblin child, like he's part human, part goblin, and was born, but the goblin world rejected him because he looks too human. They're like, that thing's fucking disgusting, burn it. And so he's off on his own. He likes to wander around. He's drawn to places where mischief is happening or where something bad is about to happen, and he likes to crash in attics and he likes to pee on things. Like he's just like the fundamental Cat Eye Boy situation is that he's staying in somebody's attic, but he doesn't want to be a freeloader, so he's going to help them with their monster problem, but also probably going to end up getting someone killed or like unable to do anything at all. But he tries.
Yeah, and he might even like sneak into your bedroom and like pretend like create an exact replica of yourself and like.
Yeah, he shakes kids down for candy and food and stuff, and like tells them, "Hey, don't tell anybody I'm here." Like it just depends on his mood.
Yeah, he might even talk to the audience. Oh, I might stay at your place tonight. And so he'll break down the fourth wall. And this is, I know you haven't read Orochi yet, but it's kind of it's a very similar structure, but it's a girl, and she's sort of ethereal, and she too goes from house to house, like watching girls have trauma happen to them, and intergenerational conflict, and watches them get tied up and watches them almost get hit by cars, and like it's a real thing that he likes in this era to do. But the Cat Eye Boy is the boyish version of that, and the more playful one. The other one it's not playful at all. It's a little more like, I'm not going to say even it's not horrific in the sense like this is horrific. Like maybe it's playful because it's so horrific, and the other stuff is just like a lot of child beating and people turning into monsters, and but not like this. But anyway,
there's like there's that essay in the back that talks about it's the line between humor and horror, and or like laughter and horror, and that's like it's really accurate. There's when you were talking about the way that image it plays out in this, like it's hard to, I don't know exactly how to express it. Like I think you kind of have to see it, but I get the feeling that his process is that, like maybe he'll start drawing something that just kind of takes him away, and then just being like, hell, what does that mean? Or like not so much worrying about the logic of it, but just sort of like, how could these things connect into some weirder story that just kind of is associative in the way that the story's drawn around. And I think it's partially just like whatever flow of imagery he takes is his imagination.
I think particularly in what's not the Tsunami Summoners, although that one goes on for a while. That has like two distinct parts. But basically the band of 100 monsters.
Yeah, that's the best story.
And I think that's the one that most fits the description that you've offered, because like that takes some twists and turns, and you're like, wait a minute, like that's not really set up from the beginning. Like he's just flowing, and it's fine. You're like, it's like that's not a problem. It's not even close to a problem, but well, there's so much that's like would be weak in lesser hands, and in fact I think it maybe bridges us into the first story, the what's it even called? So basically it's just this story about this guy. He's completely deformed and just grotesquely mangled. Like we find out later that his face has been burned, and he just starts showing up and fucking with this kid. Like that's basically the story. That's been like he's terrorizing this little kid. So he first shows up with this like arm wrapped in he's got a present for you, and it's like this arm that's you don't know what it is. It's like all wrapped up. He unwraps it. It's a severed arm, and he's like, give this to your dad, and it just kind of keeps going. It turns out that he's given, like, the dad has killed this guy like countless times, and he just keeps coming back and regenerating. But there's that awesome bit where like he's wrestling with the kid on these train tracks, and the kid I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, and he's like, he just gets hit by the train, like body parts all over the place. He just gets up and looks at the kid. Why would you do this to me?
Yeah, and like before that, he like stole him in a taxi or something like that, or like he basically kidnapped him.
That's right.
Trick me, stop the car. So what's this? Again, it's been a while since I skimmed his too weak a word. I took some notes I went through, but I didn't reread because I had read these before. So I didn't do like a full reread, but it says, "Let me tell you something interesting. You are not the son of that family." Is that the case at the end of the story?
That's
Okay,
him
all
also fucking with this kid. He's
Okay,
like,
yeah.
he's like making up this stuff. And it
Because
turns
there's
out,
spoilers in a. I was just wondering because in Orochi, there's one of the stories that one of the kids is not. It turns out someone makes a similar claim, and the twist is that he's not part of the family at all. So
oh, okay.
anyway, yeah, I just thought that was like a thing that he did, but I guess not.
Yeah, no, the father tells him later, like I've murdered this guy countless times. He just keeps coming back, and he says that he's been trying to take our fortune, but you have nothing to do with this guy. He's just a monster. One thing you learn very quickly in these stories is that like ugliness equals evil, and like don't even worry about it. Like it's completely uncomplicated. If something is disgusting, then they are gonna be some fucked up monster.
Yeah. They like, and that's even a thing. Like they're gonna. It's not. It's something that Umezz is totally aware of because, like, in the Band of 100 Monsters, they're basically a bunch of monsters who they're like, it's just, well, it's an open question. Like, society rejects them, and so like, is that why they're evil? But the fact of the matter is that they are evil, whatever the reason, the causation, and they're like, beautiful people who have evil souls should also look like us. Like it's a very, very childish sort of morality.
Yes.
And they want to, there's this in these stories, they sort of want to purify, or let's say clarify moral distinctions through body horror, through body modification. They're just like, you're an asshole. We're going to turn you into Quasimodo.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
Because that's the natural order of things. Like that's how it should be. So that way it's very clear your social credit score. Everybody knows what's up with you.
That's so true.
Yeah. And it's a very childish conceit. But yeah, you're right, Chris, because like you don't fuss about it. You don't feel like some sort of act of like, oh, what about street involved people, and don't they commit crimes because they have actual, none of that's out. Don't even worry about that stuff. Like you said, it's about black and white. It's about horror equaling evil, except for Cat-Eyed Boy.
Yeah, he's sort of like the between things.
Yeah, the in-betweener.
Yeah.
This is when he pees on that guy, and that's
he's like
good.
He's in a coffin, because they I guess they bring him back to the house because they think that he's like dead for good, and they have to, I guess, take care of him. But then Cat-Eyed Boy opens up the coffin. Well, actually, first, to be fair, before he pees on him, the guy's leg it attacks him. It's like got this mouth and it's like leaping on him. So
that's right. Like severed. I didn't keep an accurate count, but in my notes I was like, severed hand number 1, severed hand, legs. It's a real theme.
It's Evil Dead-esque. Like like when things are dismembered, they're coming back.
Yeah. And they might even turn into their own thing. Like that severed leg later on comes back as like this horrible mutated Michelin man.
That's right. Yeah.
It's like burst through the wall, and you're like, oh, that's horrific. It would, even though the story didn't require it, but I think Umezz was just like, I just need a little bit more horror, just a little bit, get us over the edge here.
Definitely. I love this dad's awesome. You're about to regenerate. I knew it. Throws gas in the guy's face. Listen carefully. He has the power to regenerate himself. He's trying to steal our assets. There you go. But sets him on fire. I love it. And then he just turns to his son. It's like, you're my son. I am going to go back into the building to die now. And no explanation. The kid's just like, what? And the only thing that saves him is the Cat-Eyed Boy.
Yeah.
Drags him out.
He's like the littlest hobo.
He is. That's exactly. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and he's got a little rucksack.
Shows up. Who could have dragged my father here? Yeah, and he like everything he does, he's like, hey, as if it was a funny thing to do. There
Definitely.
wouldn't be, about the gasoline, so there wouldn't be any evidence. Jeez, what a guy setting a fire like that. Well, I better go. He just covers up the crime.
Yeah, and he's got X-Men syndrome too, where it's like no matter what he does, no matter how he tries to help, whether he's like trying to save a city or town from drowning in a tsunami, whatever, they're going to persecute him, and like they're gonna he always ends up holding the knife at the scene of the crime, even though he's like fought off the monster, and like that guy, he's the guy. Look at him.
Yeah.
Gets impaled a lot. Really, villager set trapper. Yeah.
I know you didn't want to talk about the one-legged monster of Udai or whatever it was called, but there was that one. I want to talk about that one scene where he's got like, so the doctor's like, you have a nail in your stomach, and he's like, oh God, he's like, it's growing, it's really big, and he's like, doctor, I need to get it out, and the doctor's like, no, it's covered in flesh, it'd be really bad, and he sits up and he grabs the surgical instruments and he's like, I'm gonna cut it out myself. And he's stopped by something like an earthquake or some jostling or some shit falls on top of him or something like that. But I just like that. I like that it's a Ripley moment where he's just like, well, we're gonna nuke the site from orbit. He's just like, no, right. I'm just gonna fucking cut it out. But the plot prevents him from doing it. And just the earnestness with which he stood up and like the forthrightness, he was like, I'm just gonna do it. And you were like, yeah, I bet you could. You got healing powers. You're just gonna Wolverine that shit.
Yeah, he kind of has whatever powers he needs for the given story.
Yes,
like, he'll just kind of be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, another Orochi thing, like a same thing for her.
Which is fine.
Required. Yeah. I wanted to talk about him peeing on this guy though, just because. So he's in the attic, and he got attacked by that leg. There's something strange about that guy's body, is basically his response, and so he's like, I don't really like living in this attic for free, so I guess I'll lend a hand. There must be something this guy hates. So he spits on him first, through a hole in the wall. No effect. Then I'll piss on him. No dice. This guy must be crazy. He didn't even feel it. Next I'll try sake. And he's just like, pours a bunch of, I don't know where he got this sake from, but he pours it through, and the guy's like, sake's a little strong for him. Like, that's a whole page just spent doing that. I was like, strange experiment. I remember your text to me was like, we're in good hands.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I think when I did that, I had just finished reading The Ugly Demon, which might be my favorite story of them in a weird way. Did you get a chance to spend a lot of time with that one?
Oh yeah. I only skipped the ones that you said we weren't going to talk about. So yeah, the little serial killer asshole kid.
Yes, I want to talk about this one. Yeah. So basically, again, ugly, like he's very ugly, born ugly. He looks like I don't even know what he looks like an elephant man sort of thing, but like but worse. He's got like tumor on his eye and all this stuff, and so he's at first you're kind of feeling bad for him, but like within pages he's like impaled frogs and strangled cats and just done that this guy's going to no good end. And then the moment that ruins his life is that he falls in love with this girl, and she's like dating this big dude, like this, like as he grows up he's like strong guy big, like he's ridiculous, and then because she rejects his interest, he goes completely off the rails, although he was going to anyway.
That strong dude, that's the bodyguard. But there was a younger guy that she was into.
Oh, my bad. Oh, I see.
Yeah. That's not that's not the husband all grown up. That's just like some thug.
Okay.
He is strong guy big though. For anyone any X Factor fans out there from Peter David's run, Guido. Yeah, beats the shit out of him. Like really, and then. From that day, I stopped leaving my house. No, there's before that, like the kind of the girl calls him a monster, And in that instant, her words turned my heart into a black void. And there's kind of he's a pitiful creature. Like, he still remains evil. Umezz isn't interested in like context or redemption or anything like that, but he can still make like a pitiful moment pitiful.
Yeah, except that he's already like we've already gotten him saying, "I enjoyed killing living things," and like doing some of that.
I think that's what I meant in that he's not trying to like redeem this guy, but it's still kind of a pitiful moment.
Sure. Yeah, you never want to see somebody curl up into a ball for like that, but yeah. But then he takes it, just sends him completely off the rails. I love this when Professor Monster shows up.
Yeah.
he's got the guy's dad on the leash, and the dad is like snarling at him, and he's got this like big scar across his head, like a bloody mouth. He's been eating someone. And Cat-Eyed
Boy shows up on the scene. This is how Cat-Eyed Boy enters into the story, and he just like comes across. Yeah. And it's and then you get the full page spread of like he's just being. I love these full page images, like when Umezz pulls out. So we didn't talk about his art very much, but it's like Tezuka in its cartoonishness, but it has more detail. Like it goes. If we were reading Understanding Comics, we would Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics. He has like a continuum between cartoony and sort of naturalistic, or it's more of a pyramid, if I remember correctly. And you would put it in the cartoony quadrant, I guess, but like closer to naturalism. And so you see all the sticks, and you see like people have eyebrows and facial bits and stuff that they might be missing from Tezuka. But still, like Cat-Eyed Boy actually stands out because he remains cartoony throughout, in a way that his environment doesn't always match.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even like looking at the terrain as this guy is like, he's on all fours, like coming forward, like almost like a wolf or something like that. And but like the terrain is all rocky and detailed. Like you got the rain swept field and all that, and there's quite a bit of detail there.
So anyway, they get into a fight, and I am Professor Monster, and what the fuck is this guy? Like, he's got these zany glasses and this weird beard, and like he's got like
big bushy mustache.
Like a cape and a whip, and this is when I was talking about like what the conservatives want, like this is it. This is what all the whole HEP world would be doing on a Friday night if the Nazis won the war.
That's absolutely true. I love the one of my favorite things. I think the moment I sent you that text is the guy's like, he ties Cat-Eyed Boy up, throws him down, like, and he's giving him the lay of the land. Like, what is that man over there? Ha ha ha! This is my supreme creation. It's art, something you probably don't understand.
Art?
It's like this like smug, like you wouldn't get it. You don't get my genius.
Yeah.
So good. Not your normal mad scientist reaction.
Yeah. And so it's been revealed that like he has a leopard in his brain, so it's a leopard human.
He switched the brains of so like the deal. This guy was the ugly monster's dad, and he made a deal. He would help his son become beautiful if he agreed to undergo experimental surgery. So good.
Yeah. And
it should be mentioned too that every villain in this is one-dimensionally, cartoonishly evil. Like this is consistent throughout the series. Like they're cackling mad. Like they it doesn't matter. Again, like this is like nonsense villainy, but it's more about what happens next because it's going to be so weird and unexpected.
Yeah. And honestly, like Professor Monster, you could show up whenever you want, dude. Totally on board for that. This was okay. So we get introduced to another Umezz conceit, or at least another Cat-Eye Boy conceit. Like when we ask ourselves, what are Cat-Eye Boy's powers? And it's like one of his powers is to get tied up consistently, and then mouth off and get beaten.
Severely.
Just severely, yeah, just severely beaten, perhaps knocked unconscious, and then to have to negotiate an entire adventure, or at least a large portion of the adventure, like completely tied up. So he has to like dig his way out with his mouth of like a cage or something like that. That's just a funny little. It just shows up routinely.
Yeah, because he ends up in the cage with the ugly monster. He's just like beating him for pages, and to the point where like he's like, it's surgery time. He's finally, there's this guy died in a car crash, or is dying in a car crash, and they dragged his body away, and it's like, we have a short window to put your brain in this guy, and he almost misses the this appointment because he's too busy enjoying beating the Cat-Eyed Boy.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And then when he does get his brain inside that, it's like some dude's older brother. And the kid's like, "What happened, older brother? You used to be nice. I used to wash your back in the sauna." There was that amazing scene where like some dog's barking, and he just grabs the dog and just like starts beating it against the ground like Bam
Bam.
Yeah, like Bam Bam. Yeah, there we go. I had a different vision in mind. But I didn't want to compare it to Nazism. But it was the only similar image I'd ever seen in my life.
Well, that's also fair.
Yeah. I guess the Nazis, the Bam Bam of 20th century. Beats the shit out of that dog and made me laugh, even though obviously that's not funny, but it really made me laugh.
But it's shocking, so you laugh.
Yeah, well, you never see that. You never see someone just grab a dog by the tail and like whip it around and just like, you don't see its brain explode, which would happen. So I guess that's not as horrible as it could be. Just a lot of yelp.
Yeah.
Stop, brother.
Yeah. And he just like starts instantly terrorizing this little brother too, like just destroying family photos and just,
He tries to pour acid on his arm.
Oh, that's right.
Here.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other amazing thing about the story is because this whole the whole convoluted thing of like getting into this beautiful body is he wants to stage an acid attack on the girl that rejected him.
Yes.
But he could have just done that. But to him it's like he has to have brain surgery so that he can like cause a rejection first.
Well, is the idea that he's going to like seduce her and then throw acid in her face?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's so convoluted.
Yeah. So, all right. So, first of all, your plan, because he couldn't have planned this. It just like nobody knows that Professor Monster exists until suddenly like he shows up in your life. And I guess when Professor Monster showed up 10 years prior, the wheels, the cogs got him moving, like if this technology works, I'm going to throw acid in that bitch's face. Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah. The long revenge. It's a dish best served cold. So what do we know?
Yeah. But unfortunately, a leopard doesn't change its spots.
Nicely done. Yes. Oh. Speaking of the leopard.
Yeah.
That's where I flipped for this because as soon as he said that, I had to ask myself, is there a leopard out there with a human brain in it? Because of course that's what you do. And in lesser hands that would have gone ignored. But later on, Professor Monster says, I did that, but it died.
Okay, I forgot about that. Just couldn't handle it, I guess. Imagine growing up and like waking up one day in a leopard's body though.
That would be the ultimate nightmare.
Very frustrating at the least, you wouldn't have any hands, you wouldn't have like any of the mobility that you're used to, like you wouldn't have thumbs,
Jesus,
and then like it's eat or be eaten out there and you're at a severe disadvantage. Probably anyway. Just died. Yeah, how does this resolve? Oh yeah, dude gets ugly. So he's in the guy's body, and okay, so the leopard human starts like showing spots on his body, like it literally can't. Leopard can't change its spots, is the metaphor here. Yeah. The moral lesson that we're being given. I was like, you, Umezz, you genius. And so does society reject dude who turns ugly? Like, do they beat the shit out of him or something?
Well, Professor Monster gets all depressed and like locks himself in his house because like when he realizes that the bodies are rejecting themselves, so he goes out on that date, but his face starts transforming back. He starts swelling. People are like, look at that guy, ew, it's creepy. And he's out in the middle of the street and looks in a mirror, and like his like tumors coming back. His old face is erupting out of this body. So it just it's the complete body rejection, and he has to just kind of run away. Yeah. Doesn't get to do. Yeah.
And I guess attack. Like society killed him, or he.
They're stoning him. They're throwing stones at him.
Yeah.
But we don't see like a resolution to that. Like maybe he just runs away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Cat Eye Boy leaves a note. That was not your brother. Your brother is already dead. Sign the Cat Eye Boy.
Who is that anyway? And he's just like, oh, that's it. And the carcass of the leopard found floating in the sewer.
Oh yeah. Oh, and they disappear. Okay, here they're the postscript. Yeah, however, they might appear again somewhere, sometime. Strange things happen throughout the world.
And he's just moving on.
Yeah, they never come back. Not in this anyway.
Yeah. Maybe they show up in some other Umezz work for like just a
moment. Or maybe
Probably
it's just
not,
like, startle kids with the idea that, fucking watch out for these guys.
Yeah, they could show up right next door. Like don't worry about what's under your bed. It could be the fucking that ugly kid inside some old man's body. Yeah.
That's right. Do you want to?
Go ahead.
I was just saying, do you want to skip the tsunami summoners and get right into the Council of Monsters one?
Yeah, the old band of 100 monsters. Yeah, we might as well. Otherwise we'll be at this for a while.
Yeah. And this, I feel like this is the most complete. Like this feels like the logic of this situation just kind of like builds to this story.
Okay, well, hit me with it. I'm ready.
Okay, well, I hadn't thought beyond what I was. What were you gonna say?
I think I was going to say something. I was just going to make like a couple comments about the tsunami summoners.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, like we.
No. There's nothing in there that we haven't already talked about.
Okay.
But the band of 100 monsters opens up with the talking to the audience bit. If I remember correctly. Well, it doesn't open up with that. It's like someone, my eye. No one knew why an eye like that would form in a spot like that. And actually, you kind of forget, given how long this story is, you forget that there's like this little postscript or prescript or like prologues, or I don't know words anymore. Where like there's this focus on the eye. I think he's kind of interested in the idea of the Cyclops. That was one thing in the Tsunami Summoners. The one-eyed monster is particularly concerning in the universe of the cat-eyed boy, or at least like
that's
in its
true,
early phases.
Yeah, there's a lot of that imagery.
Yeah, and so you see it in the Tsunami Summoners, and then it plays a major role in this story. And then we get the cat-eyed boy, and I'm the cat-eyed boy. No one knows about me. Blah blah blah. And I could stay at your place, but I'm not. And then now the story starts. You can dig through garbage, go through someone's attic. What's up with this kid again? What's his this is the kid he scares at first.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything really that remarkable about this kid. He just kind of like ends up being sort of reoccurring. Like I guess he keeps coming back to him in different ways. Yeah,
but the real story begins when our Umezz stand-in shows up, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, this kid happens to live in an apartment with this like famous manga artist, and that's how he gets to meet this Taro Amadera.
Yeah. Hyphen sensei. Which I guess, like given and here's like no, I was gonna say this is like another Junji thing, but it's not a Junji thing. That was specifically a that one story, which is escaping, no longer human. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh right, yes.
Yeah, so it's not a Junji thing. It's obviously just in this story an Umezz thing. Although there was the one parallel with actually I thought of the Poe clan because they were talking about the fan shows up. Okay, so Cat-Eyed Boy's in the studio. He sees all this stuff. Look at this room. There's monster faces everywhere, and it's very spooky. And he finds a new picture of someone with like hand antlers on their head.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is both stupid and horrible. Just
yeah.
So a guy shows up in a mask, like a kind of mask we'd be used to nowadays.
I had that reaction. I was like, it took me so long to realize that guy is supposed to be creepy because he's just wearing like a medical mask. I was like, okay. Yeah. Your
student never ceases to amaze. And then it's like the late Itogawa Ranpo, Japanese author whose pseudonym is taken from Edgar Allan Poe. And I thought of the Poe clan. There's something about this era in the 70s where maybe there was I don't know, just it was hip to make references to Edgar Allan Poe.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's all, or at least
Rampo is a quick aside. Famous for this story called The Human Chair, which is about like this woman slowly realizing that a guy has like stuffed himself into her chair and is like just sitting there, like feeling her like, sitting on him. The resolution of that story is that like this, it's a psych out. Like this guy sent this author this letter to prove that he could scare her or something like that. But yeah, it's really creepy.
Right. Huh. Okay. Fascinating.
Yeah. Anyway, had to bring that up.
Cool.
But this guy doesn't do that.
I was thinking about the implications of being inside a chair. That's why I was like quiet for a moment. I was like, how did he breathe while he was in the chair?
Oh, he tells you all about it.
He does.
It's creepy. Like it's worth a read because it's like just so disturbing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Noted. I'll come back to you on that one. Kind of curious about that now. Okay. Anyway. And I had forgotten that this long epic begins with this sort of meta-textual move where like I'm going to talk about making comics and making horror comics, and then once that's done, you like that could have very easily just been like kind of a gag on its own, but it ends up being like the catalyst for like it feels like 3 stories. And like maybe even 4. I don't know if I can delineate them properly, but like there's this one, and then I guess whoever gets attacked next, and then there's a mystery to be solved, and then there's the cat-eyed boy trying to deal with the mastermind, like kind of the Cyclops monster, and then there's the final ending where like he figures out where the Cyclops, and it's very short, but like he's like actually is like a psychic little girl or something. I'm a little hazy on the details there. Yeah,
you're right about that.
And it just goes all over the place. But I'd forgotten actually it has much more structure than I realized. Like,
yeah, it's like a proper like long. I mean, it could be a volume of a manga.
Yeah. But it wasn't. It was just collected every Wednesday in a boys magazine. In large chunks, probably 4 large chunks. I didn't count, maybe more. Because we get the breaks, like the commercial breaks, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You'll always sign off with like a little like the title of the story again when to indicate when it would have stopped or been the next issue.
Yeah. So actually, there's a whole bunch of those. There's probably like I shouldn't have counted them, but maybe like 10. I like that shadow that's connecting to the guys he's trying to run away.
Oh yeah. That is cool. Yeah, it's like one of the monsters is like I'm Shadow Boy, and just kind of like pins them in place, or you can't get away from me, until he throws like a stick or a spear through it.
Yeah, the monster makes the manga artist run against his will. Like once the shadow attaches to you, it has kind of a control over you, but also like there's a sympathy. So if it gets stabbed, then the manga artist, he something bad happens to him too. I guess he's hopeless. Guy's hopeless. He fainted. No, blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing too, right? He's like sort of like it turns out that he's kind of a fraud. Like he kind of steals all of his imagery. None of it's unique except for this woman with the antler hands, and so she kind of like comes at his door, comes up to his window and like breaks it. Oh, look, a beautiful woman, says the cat-eye boy, and then she kind of like crawls in and says like, starts accusing him like, you saw me, didn't you? And she's wearing this big like head wrap, and underneath, of course, she has those handlers, or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, handlers. It seems all you do is copy others. You copy other manga artists and authors. Furthermore, the reason for this gruesome decor was simply to make an impression on the editorial staff to sell yourself. It's really like, the reason it's sort of a metatextual move is like Umezz is obviously like, and this is the case of everyone, like not just him, but like you're copying people, you're inspired by people in a visual medium, like or when you're dealing with monsters and goblins, you're always going to be drawing upon like stuff like folklore and stories, but here it's sort of villainized. Well, not sort of villainized. It is villainized. Like there's the story doesn't like redeem the manga artist for having done this. It's actually sort of, I might be wrong about it, but it kind of like accepts that he's damned for having done this.
I think you're right. Yeah, he's because he's purely like, there's no spark. Of course, you're drawing inspiration from things, but he's like just reproducing or copying, and furthermore, it's been a secret. Like he's pretended that he's.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. So he's a fraud. Yeah, and I think that offends. I'm not sure if it offends Cat-Eye Boy. Like he does talk. He's like, I don't care about this guy, but it does bother me that they attacked him on my watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When she like grabs his arm, like he tries to grab her with a knife, and like she's essentially like stopping him with 4 hands, and like it's so creepy and so stupid at the same time.
Yes.
It's like.
Yeah.
I
wonder if Tadao Amandera is all right. I heard continuous screams from him.
Payback for earlier. Yeah. So how does it get to the next bit though?
They straight up rough him up. This is where he meets the idea of the Council of 100 Monsters, and they kidnap him and drag him off. I think they drag him off because I think he shows up again later. He's horrifically like grotesque.
Yeah, the shadow monster is fighting Cat-Eyed Boy for a lot in the background while all of this is happening.
That's right.
And he beats the shadow or something, or at the very least the shadow goes away. And then he finds all the, he's not here. So yeah, they pulled him up somewhere.
Yeah, we're the band of 100 monsters. I'm the chairman. Kodomo. I love how they're like so like corporatized and like they got and in fact the whole thing is that like they make an offer to Cat-Eye Boy because like they're at 99 monsters, and if they have one more, they'll finally be 100.
I wonder if it's supposed to be like a kind of like a communist thing.
Interesting. Maybe.
Yeah, or like a socialist thing or whatever. Like they're the chairman, right?
Yeah.
I don't know though. It wouldn't surprise me if there was like some sort of reference contained.
Subtext.
Yeah.
It does feel that way. Another thing that really kind of like seemed odd is that like I love that. Like the reason why Cat-Eyed Boy won't go with them. He's like, you're not monsters. You're just humans. You're humans who call yourself monsters. That's so arrogant. So he's so offended on behalf of like real monsters. But there's a very fine ontological distinction, because these things are like people with fanged mouths on their hands, or like spider people who devour and suck blood and spin webs. Like that's
a kid made out of shadow. Like you don't.
Yeah.
like
that's not just a regular human.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is like, okay, so let's think about it. Let's maybe there is a distinction. Okay, so these people are all shitty because they're evil. The goblins that we saw previously, when in whatever it was called, the tsunami summoners,
or the origin story too, like the when he that woodcutter or whatever, like takes that wife that everyone's like, no, don't go with her, and that's how Cat-Eyed Boy was born. Like she tricks him into having the goblin baby.
Yeah, and is it? They're not really evil. They're more supernatural. Like they're their own sort of society.
That seems to be the case. Yeah.
And
yeah. No, sorry. Go ahead. Finish that.
No, that's all. Yeah, they just have their own society. Like maybe there is a distinction there. Like properly supernatural creatures. Like they don't give a fuck. Like maybe one of them will come in and break the rules, but actually it was really horrific when it's finally revealed. Like, yeah, actually I'm a demon and so's our baby. And the guy goes crazy.
Oh yeah, that's a great image. Like where he's just like in the corner, like
Yeah, but that could easily be. I don't know. Maybe I'm pressing too hard on this, but it feels like he transgressed. Everyone was like, no, don't transgress. Like over there, that's where the monsters are. And he was like, no, I'm in love with the monsters. And then, a bunch of bad shit happened, and it has actually nothing to do with Cat-Eyed Boy. It's just a way for us as humans to enter into that completely alien environment. And in this instance, like, yeah, they're just like, I guess, like if you're properly evil, you can turn pseudo supernatural. You can reach towards goblin or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like you're like a mutant of some kind. Like there really is like, I mean, I know obviously there's no, like Umezz was not reading X-Men at the time, but there does feel like there's a sort of like Brotherhood of Evil Mutant thing to them. Where and of course, like it's all reflecting badly on Cat-Eyed Boy too, because like everyone's terrified of him. Yeah. I almost wonder if there's I would not be at all surprised if the word in Japanese doesn't mean monster, but means something, like there's a distinction between like the words used or something like that. It just feels they feel like different categories.
Yeah.
But anyway, in our translation, he says he will not let this guy tarnish the reputation of monsters.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
And we got a lot more severed hands and stuff. My next note is, okay, so they chase off the Cat-Eyed Boy. He gets shot. He's okay though. I did draw a picture of him, and kid's all fussy and stuff like that. I'm scared. Hand shows up. My next note is water gulping goblin.
Oh yeah, that guy's creepy. So then what happens? So there's this list. There's this list that they find, or he finds, and it's got a bunch of their targets. Like when Cat-Eyed Boy rejects them, like they want their list back. So they admit that this is going to be like, we're making people ugly. We're gonna teach them all. The ugliness of their hearts is going to be reflected in their features. And don't read that because it's all of our targets. So then he swallows it, and I think they somehow get it back, or like he brings it up again. But he's kind of knows like where to go. So he goes to this politician's home. That's their next target. And that is really, like these politicians are just sitting around, being all corrupt. And this thing just comes in, water, please. And they just like throw a bottle at him. It shatters, and he starts slurping it up. And then
he's like this hairless little Yoda guy, and he's just like really long tongue. So like, I think they throw him in a fish they step on him and they squish him. He's a spongy, and he's laughing the whole time. They smashed his face in, and they pour a bunch of water, and he's growing. He drank it up. He's like, and then they throw him in the fish thing, and he turns gigantic.
Yeah, it's like a blob moment or something like that.
Yeah. Whoa. And then he steps on their face. Well, he steals one person, but in the process steps on two people's faces.
That's right, just tramples them. Yeah. When the cowboy goes, look, his face is just like this, like imprinted, like it's like this. His face is destroyed, just with this like claw print smushing it down.
His eyeballs are all popped out.
His eyeballs are popped out. Yeah, he got hit so hard that his eyeballs pop out of his head. Yeah. Jesus, I forgot about that.
One of them stands up though. The eyeball guy, he's dead, but the other guy stands up.
Yeah. And then of course starts blaming Cat Eye Boy.
Yeah, and he's yelling. That's actually super creepy. Like he's laughing and like, someone help me, a monster. It's a monster, help. That's fucked up actually, man.
Yeah.
Pulls him down and then dies, or shut up, you liar. Actually, no, he stands up and then attacks people. So anyway, still creepy.
Yeah, it is. And then we get to the next target. Then we started getting images of we didn't really know what the game was, but to go in and look at the politician, he looks like this grotesque toad creature with two tongues hanging to his chest and lumpy and just they're really gross. They really are grotesque images.
Yeah, Umezz is fucked up. He definitely has something in his head. He's got an idea of what's gross and what's weird.
Yeah, and that's another. Yeah, that's you do see the influence on Ito at times. And I think that moments like that, some of those elongated tongues or forms, where there's one that attacks with its tongue and it's swollen and grotesque. That's an image that Ito will come back to often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So then we start getting into what we were talking about earlier with Cat-Eyed Boy and his reflections, and he's like, "Am I a spider creature? What's going on?" And yeah, some sort of, they want to kill an old man. Their next target is this rich family. They call him stubborn and stingy. I agree that grandfather wasn't the most generous man, but it's a fortune that he diligently built up. So it's some sort of billionaire or maybe millionaire at this time, and someone who didn't help anyone, I guess.
Yeah, and as he's dying, the family's fighting over the inheritance already and that sort of thing. Except there's one boy in the family is kind and hasn't been influenced by this sort of stuff. He's just always trying to do what's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I forget if he's successful in that. Does he survive this experience?
We'll talk about that shortly.
Yeah.
But it doesn't go well for him. We'll say that.
Right.
So Cat-Eyed Boy runs in and he's just trying to. I love that he says I love unscrupulous people like you because you're so full of life. Even if you do evil, you're so much more promising than good docile people. So he decides he's going to stick with this family and try to help them out.
That's a funny thing. You kind of, again, I'm going to keep coming back to this. You see something similar in Orochi. Not the same though. There's this story about this kid who just lies to everybody all the time, just constantly lying, rude and shitty. But then there's this one instance where he stumbles upon this awful truth and has to, but no one believes him, and he's trying to someone murdered someone, but it's the boy who cries wolf, and the ghost girl kind of sympathizes with him throughout all of this. And even at the end, the little kid, after having solved the issue and done some sort of societal good, remains a lying, shitty kid. He doesn't become anything better. And she kind of likes that about him. And so another similarity here.
That's fair.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think there's something about the work here where like it is child. Well, there's a line in the essay in the back matter that stuck out to me. I think it says that the opposite, like there's a naivety in the work, but it also embraces the opposite of naivety, which is cruelty. I had never really thought about that before, but it does kind of make sense. In like, if you don't have the context or like the empathy to um, put yourself in other people's positions, then maybe cruelty is sort of a naivety or just a lack of experience. I mean, it's not just that. Obviously, cruelty is terrible, and kids suck. But Umezz embraces like it's childlike, but he embraces both poles of that. And and this just it's like one of those examples. For that reason, Cat-Eyed Boy is like great framing device because he can be drawn to either side of that.
Yeah, particularly like for a children's literature, it totally makes sense because like kids are reading this, and there is like no one's saying this explicitly, but like except for obviously like analysts or commentators, but like maybe I don't know how successful this was, but like it had to have been. Like for Umezz to have been so influential to have the place that he has, one infers that there was a spark, and maybe that spark, aside from the fact that his images are so weird, and that's obviously a big thing too, but that he zeroes in on something that kids identify with, and also adults can identify with, but I don't even know if the adult part is really important, but just that kids or teenagers can identify with, like Drifting Classroom is traffics in all. Yeah.
He understands deeply like just what draws kids or what kind of rivets them, like that. We've talked about this before when we were talking about Sandman, but like, fairy tales are extremely dark, and that's, we try to shelter kids now, but many of them want to experience that or hear about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I read these comics over breakfast with Matthew like last year. Obviously he didn't understand all of it, but he was very into it. He loved all the monsters. They looked very funny to him. All the horror, he was like, what's happening? It wasn't not like none of it scared him. He was just like, he was like, what the heck? And he would point at it, and he would just like, no, it was blowing his little mind. And that's
perfect sense.
Yeah, and that's got to be what's going on here, because that's what happens in my brain. Like, I'm just like, what the fuck? What's happening?
Yeah. So speaking of what's happening, is that this spider, like, seems to be like like one of the most powerful of this council. It creeps into the body of the deceased grandfather and starts like possessing it and like getting up and I'm fine now, and inviting other monsters into the house. They go on full on monster mash at one point. Like they just like all pile in. Cat-Eyed Boy combats that by giving them sake again, getting them drunk.
Was that what happened? That's in volume 2, right?
Volume 2, yeah. That's right. Yeah, but first we get that like
there.
spider, the like boss battle with the spider, which is
another severed arm attack, another classic Cat-Eyed Boy fight.
He summons the cats to pile on her, but then she gets all petty, like he's like, just let the cats go, and I'm like, well, I'll give you your arm back, and they both betray. She's not gonna give those cats back. So petty. I'll kill them. Ha ha ha. You fool! As if I'd let the cats go. I'll kill them.
I figured that's what you'd do. Yeah.
then when he finally does defeat this thing, like he accidentally burns her to death. Like he just comes out spitting like fire because he's sucked back some oil and he's like lit it on fire. But then she gets so scared that she gets tangled up in her own webs and
yeah. And there's like a stupid like. And yeah, actually, we get the speech from the monster creature, and it's like it's giving like a still I'm human, and as you see, I'm grotesque. You are probably unaware, but this world is full of unsightly people like me. And yet humans despise us just because of our looks and force us out of sight simply because the way we look. And that is why you do not know that so many of us exist. So they're like the Morlocks, and they just want to turn humans into Morlocks.
Absolutely. That's a great. Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect comparison.
Like evil humans, she ugly heart because her looks are pretty and she lives with such arrogance. Yeah, and I think that's it. The arrogance part is this is a moral lesson. Like it's obviously not a Christian moral lesson, not obviously not a Christian moral lesson, but very probably not a Christian moral lesson, since it's Japanese. But still, that basic idea. It's not necessarily that you're bad. It's that you're arrogant. That you're like you don't recognize your gifts. You aren't kind, and therefore your outside should look like your inside.
Yeah, except that we do see that this is all hot air and bullshit on their part, because when they do finally pin down that family, and the first guy they go after is that boy who's kind of been pure-hearted.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's right. They're just a bunch of full of shit. Big assholes. Yeah.
Well, and then he's like, kind of boy's like, he's done nothing, and the chief monster's like, oh well, he hasn't done anything yet, but like look at him growing up with his family. Eventually he'll be there. Right.
Yeah. So in order to save the village, we got to burn the village. That's what we're gonna have to do here. Yeah, I don't know. There's something contained within that this idea of nurture. Like maybe there is something to that though. Like eventually that kid's gonna get all fucked up. Like we don't know.
Well, that's like Minority Report shit though. It's like you can't police the crime before the crime.
I don't know. I don't know if that's what George W. Bush would say.
You're right.
Yeah.
You win.
Yeah. Yeah. So I hardened my morality in the early 2000s for the future to come.
This scene of like the way they turn things ugly says like this is mind blowing. They like hold this kid down. He's got a knife and he just like shink puts it right in the kid's forehead and like draws a slit. And then
they do that to all of them.
Yeah.
What's stage 2 on that?
Stage 2,
from that wound, people steadily turn ugly. Oh yeah, with my curse. Yeah. And then
he opens up his third eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
All right. He's
How
doing a lot of mumble.
That boy has a pure heart.
Oh, and he fucking gives him a tumor on his forehead. That sucks.
Yeah.
Another instance of Cat-Eyed Boy being tied up and beaten. Repeatedly.
That's right. And then they try to pull the mojo on Cat-Eyed Boy, but he I love that he gets the slit in his forehead deeper, but then he just sprays the blood into this guy's third eye.
Yeah, good move.
Yeah. Well
that's
done.
very pragmatic. Like you're tied up, right? You got no choice, so you're just like, gotta make I think I wrote down like lemonade out of lemons.
That's right.
He starts laughing.
Yeah. And laughter is like the ultimate weapon in this. Like you just got to laugh off these like completely horrific situations, or else you're gonna caught flat-footed. But if you can laugh about it, you're set.
Well, definitely if you're the Cat-Eyed Boy, like I don't know if any amount of laughter would have helped that little boy with the tumor in his face, but
no, it definitely didn't help the guy who went crazy like when his
it's true,
kids were coming up.
Right. But it's a good weapon for the Cat-Eyed Boy. So if you're one of the in-betweeners in like this moral existence, like if you like walk that line between good and evil. Laughter is your greatest defense. Also, like a healing factor and the ability to do whatever the plot requires.
Yeah, spit acid if you're emotional, or like turn your blood sour if something is trying to drain it because of the way you feel.
Yeah.
All good.
So how is it revealed that? How does he end up at that little girl's house again?
So
yeah. Okay, go on.
actually, I don't remember. Yeah, oh right, because it's the organs. So like he catches this whiff of alcohol from all these monsters. Oh yeah, and oh god, that's right. He pins down Kodomo. He catches Kodomo after she's blinded, and then gotcha. I'll strip you naked and tie you up. Well, that's screaming like a girl won't have you now. Now let's see your balls. And he actually rips off her pants and a skirt, and then realizes that it's not a girl, boy all along, and that's sort of the first clue. He smells alcohol off of these other creatures, and as he's finding their weak points, I guess with his like extra senses, and they're just kind of shriveling up into these body parts and organs and stuff like that. So at the end of this fight, there's like a whole bunch of organs in the room, and he realizes that they've been organs all along. Like it's just like a room full of like intestines, and this is so weird. Obviously, if you're confused hearing this, we are too. But,
this entire room is.
Hang on, intestines splat.
Yeah.
So eventually realized that these were from a lab or like a medical storehouse, and that the power of animation has or something has animated them, and ends up in this. I don't know how he gets into their house, but it's this like little girl in a bed who looks like
climbs through the window. Well, the little girl's like help because some intestines are attacking her.
That's right. So it's okay.
And that's what he's like. Hang on, intestines. And yeah, this is when he pieced it together. They suddenly jumped in here from the window, and apparently they were like, these are specimens soaked. They were trying to return to their. So once he did the thing, the organs were like, okay, we better go back to the lab, and conveniently lead Cat-Eyed Boy to the mystery here. And it's like it's that associative thing. Like it doesn't make any sense, but it's just like, here's a connective tissue. I'm just gonna carry you over to figure out what's up.
Yeah, and because it's so dreamlike, you really do just go along with it.
Yeah, well, you can barely keep track. Like you can, like, think how long it took us a couple seconds ago just to like puzzle this shit together.
Yeah,
like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I remember getting there, but like I remember being there, but I don't remember how I got there. And so yeah, and so why there's like some sort of like inter-sister conflict.
Yeah, there's twin girls, and one is able-bodied and able to move around. The other is bedridden and has a grotesque third eye. And she has the ability to, I guess, hypnotize or possess this sister, and also to like just, I guess, cause illusions on a mass scale. Like, so yeah, she jumps on her sister's back. One move and I'll tear her to shreds. It all ends here for me. I'll show you my final power. And it's like this. It's like that scene out of Evil Dead 2, and like the whole house is laughing at him, like the
right,
stuff. Like the pictures are laughing, like intestines.
Even the mask he's wearing.
Yeah, they're all just kind of like howling at him. And then the little girl who's ugly is on her sister's back, driving her towards the edge of this building. We'll die together. And now jump. And Cat-Eyed Boy comes along and like tries to save them, but only pulls the ugly girl back. Super dark ending.
God!
Right. The one sister falls to her death, and then it transforms into a baby.
And there's a baby Ben there. Can you take a look? And he's just like laughing, and he's like, so long. This is like, And the doctor's like, fortunately, this baby will pull through. And he like,
Yeah.
he just doesn't. He looks through the window. He's like, I don't give a shit. I'm out of here.
Yeah. And you do get the OIC, the third eye that developed died. So she's turning back into the baby she used to be.
Yeah.
There's a
Makes
point where he
sense to
talks
me.
about how, this, it was the jealousy of her sister that caused her to be possessed by evil. And so that's, that's your explanation for
Yeah.
all this happening.
That's it. Yeah, that whole fucking story.
Yeah. And the little hobo moving on to the next town.
Yeah. And then the next one we wanted to talk about briefly was the stairs.
Oh God, yeah. So these are the ones that are they're different. They're a different tone. They're shorter. This one has a very classic horror structure to it. But it's so well done. It's so creepy.
Yeah. It's just and it's very unusual and in its structure, in that it's all a dream, so that we've seen that before, but usually the cat-eyed boy shows up and we've talked about him as being this carnival-esque figure. But in this one, the first time we see him, the kid's sad about his missing mom, and the cat-eyed boy shows up like this stoic figure, and he's like, I'll let you see your mom again. And it's different, but it kind of makes sense at the end, but obviously it doesn't. You're like, what is it? How did anything lead up to that? Where it's like the mom was actually drowning and cat-eyed boy needed help.
Oh yeah, that was a different. That's the hand. So that's
that's the hand. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Right. So this is he does go to help the boy, and they go across the city, and there's this whole so many cats. They're all just following along as they go across the rooftops. And he takes this kid to this creepy little house, this burnt out house. And there's this stairway going up. Right. It's been like this since the owner went away. You go on from here. And he goes up the stairs, and at the top there's this trap door. And when he opens the trap door, he gets a glimpse of his mom. Mom, you're alive. Chihiro. And so it slams. So come back down instantly. Cat-eyed boy is telling him, just, you cannot linger here. So the kid runs back down. And he got his little glimpse of his mom. Mom, look happy. I'm glad. Now go home. So then, of course, it's I guess in cat-eyed boy's mind, he's done this good thing, but of course the boy wants to go back. So he persuades cat-eyed boy again, and then but this time the boy takes a marker and makes lines making a path back to this house. And the boy is clingier with his mom. I wanted to see you so badly. He's about to go up top, and cat-eyed boy just runs and drags him down. And then when he goes to school the next day, he just flies are surrounding him, and the kids are you stink like a dead person. How could that be? And so he just has this miasma about him. And then finally, of course, the kid sneaks off on his own, goes up this trapdoor into this sort of veil, sees his mom, and convinces her to come back down with him. But of course, the natural order has been violated as they come down. She's this rotting corpse, and he turns back and looks at her, and she's just disintegrating. Let go of me, let go. And cat-eyed boy shows up with a stick.
I'm looking at her right now. Just beats the shit out of her.
Yeah. Wham, whack.
Yeah. I'm scared. And thus, something in this boy's heart died. Something. I wish I never saw it. I wish I hadn't shown him. Yeah, well, you fucking idiot. You didn't have to. You showed up. Yeah. I forget what his motivation was to show him.
I think it was just sympathy. Because he's always trying to do good. And it may end up in accidental death, whatever. But in this case, just trying to comfort that kid. But he doesn't understand. He understands things as a child. He doesn't understand why it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an affecting. It's much more solemn in tone than usual. Apart from the continually feeding the corpse of the woman. But
Yeah, true. But yeah, it does have like
It's
the other ones
poignant,
were,
yeah.
yeah, the other ones are like they're less emotionally intense because this one's like the kid just wants to see his dead mom, like, and you can, you know, say what you want about your mom, anyone out there, but like probably when they're dead, you're going to want to see them again. And, that feels like a universal and something that you can really tap into. And yeah, you see him sort of go through that, and obviously not like go through it as in like novelesque fashion. But you're like, okay, I get it. This is an intense experience, and his trauma at the end, even though he just, or perhaps especially because he saw his fucking rotting mother get beaten to death by some sort of goblin baby, and then just like left to his own devices afterwards. Well, no one's gonna be able to explain that, and I'm gonna move on to another adventure.
That's right. Yeah. I think, and what kind of makes these final few stories so effective is that like each of them kind of features a kid in a similarly overwhelming situation, and they're just trying to do the right thing without having a guidepost to what that right thing might be. Like the hand is great. It's such a weird image. This kid sitting in his room at his desk studying, and like a lump of coal just kind of rolls up to him, and like a bunch of them multiply, and all of a sudden there's a fire, like a column of fire in his room, and eventually it just kind of opens up into this vision of hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just for a second I want to comment on the art because it's different. It's less cartoony, and then obviously there's color. There's only red and gray tones and stuff, and it feels risographed. It seems like a indie production technique that you'd kind of see like later on. That's not what's happening here, but that's kind of what it looks like because they've got this like really cheap fucking coloring, and I love it. I love this effect. I like how like there's either black or white, or people's skin is like red.
Pinkish. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like the only color they have to fuck around with is red, and like it's so. Sometimes it makes the art really murky and you can't tell what the fuck's going on, but other times, like honestly, and that doesn't bother me, I would give up. I like a couple murky panels in exchange for like that scene from hell, like.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, there's just that guy being like cooked with the spear, and he's like, and you're like, what is his body doing? What is happening there?
Yeah.
And the kid's just freaking the fuck out, and like, rightly so.
Yeah. Arg. And and then he sees his mom in hell.
Yeah.
It's like his mom.
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is why I confused the stories. Right.
How come mom's here? Watch out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so he's like traumatized after, like he goes around with his fist clenched, which is such a like interesting image. Like, let's play baseball. No, he can't open his fist because he's afraid that if he opens his fists, he's gonna let his mom go. Like it's like this this lingering concern. It's just like he's just weeping. Like, how can I tell anyone something like this? That my mom is in hell. And if I open my hand, mom will fall. Yeah,
and then that's, and we were talking about the intensity of these stories. Like that too is like a really strong, like, one, it's something that you can imagine for yourself. You just like go through your day, keep a fist. You're like, okay, that's fucked up. And then obviously the fist has like this idea of like aggression and fear, putting up your dukes. And then but it becomes a metaphor for, like we already said, trauma. Like this kid he's gone through something, and this whole supernatural event is sort of a sublimation of it, and he just has to learn to let go of his trauma so his mom can come back. Some sort of maternal, like there's some, I don't know, there's something like a Freudian reading to be. Not that I'm an expert in that. Maybe Freud's the wrong name, but I feel there's some sort of psychoanalytic reading contained within this, which you wouldn't have easily found in the earlier work. So
Absolutely, yeah.
by 76, he's dealing with like it. His concerns are a little different. I don't know if they're more mature, but they're a little more pointed, and which I think you've already said. Like it's
Yeah, it's less. I mean, it is surreal in a way, but like the fundamental image is that fist, right? Like it's like not like a bunch of quick, and it is a short story. Like it's a very quick scenario, so there aren't a lot of twists and turns to be had. But it is different. And imagine being a kid reading this. Like that would fuck me up. Like just that idea.
Yeah.
Like what would you do? Like just putting yourself in that shoe. Like what would you do? Like how do you solve that problem? I don't know.
Yeah. And then like the resolution's like really weird. He just like ends up this. Yeah, like I was saying, like he puts his hand out and saves Cat-Eyed Boy, not realizing he's actually saving his mom.
Yeah.
Like, I'm too weak. Pull me up. And like, oh, mom.
Yeah, like Cat-Eyed Boy is like falling into the ocean, or like it's just, like, this vast like stormy night, and the waves are sweeping up, and he just has to drag. He finally lets go of his fist to save Cat-Eyed Boy and like pull him out of the sea. Mm-hmm. And as he's pulling, he's like another person is coming up, and it's the guy's mom.
Yeah.
Something's written on his hand too. When he opens his fist, there's some word. I mean, I don't think we can. I'm not sure if it's.
No.
It doesn't look English. It doesn't necessarily look Japanese either. But I wonder what it says.
Are we? I'm looking at this. Oh wait, I see. You're right. I don't know. It just kind of looks calloused from the fingers, like.
Maybe you're right.
Digging in. That's possible
like,
too.
Yeah.
Just intense, like gripping. That's a nice touch, if so. You know, like, just to show the tension that was contained within it. Yeah. Yeah, and it's like his comic pacing, like his work's really good, like as comics work. Like this guy's Umezz is so good, but at this stage, these final panels, as the kid's like he falls on the rocks and he's reaching for Cat-Eyed Boy, and is like it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. We're closing. We're zooming in on his hands, like slowly starting to open, and then we zoom out again for just little extra tension, I suppose. And then the next page, like boom, the hand opens up, and yeah, it's a lot of panels that, again, we keep saying like a lesser person would have fucked it up, but he knows how to like slow it down and then open it up and slow it down again and open it up. Particularly in these last stories, which they're not as weird, they're not as funny weird, they're just weird.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up too, because like there's such a great visual pacing to these. Like, you know, he will let pages and pages go by with very little text. Maybe just some like args or like, huh? Mm-hmm. Like, yeah. But the story, he knows when to let the story tell itself through the medium.
And I think there's a density of panels too that comes from the fact that he's working in short features, which is missing. Like we're dealing with like a 12 panel grid here. Just like 12 panel grid, 12 panel grid, 12 panel grid, 12 panel grid. Like it just, and then it gets a little. No, it stays like a 12 panel grid the whole time. It's like a Dark Knight Returns kind of thing. I didn't even notice this. And he doesn't open, like I'm looking at the last one, The Friend. It doesn't open up until the final image, and then near story's resolution, then it opens up, and
that's true. Yeah.
So a lot of go on.
I was gonna say maybe subliminally that's what also gives the feeling that it was like a feature, or he had limited space to kind of tell something.
Yeah.
Also a great story, The Friend.
No, I don't really have much to say about it other than like it's. My only note about it was just like that kid, like I don't imagine things anymore.
Right.
It's another situation of like some kid with magic powers who's causing havoc through their imagination, causing through bad thoughts.
I was tempted to try to read something into that because it's the final story. I don't know if that's true. It's probably just, there's probably no meaning to it, but if if Cat-Eyed Boy is a reader of sorts of horror, an audience for horror, it's interesting that at least that the final story deals with this kid who just has lost that ability to imagine, and lost. I guess we might as well briefly talk or explain the story. Yeah. So there's two kids, Tetsuji and Motomu. I can't remember which one's which now. I think Motomu is
the kid that gets killed.
The popular kid. Okay, yeah. Right. So they're best friends. They go fishing together. They have a secret spot. But then Tetsuji starts getting popular. I'm going to try for the sports team, and it becomes a soccer star and starts spending less time with Motomu, and Motomu is very jealous of it. And it all turns out that he invites him down to the beach, pushes him into a pit and rolls a rock on him so that he'll drown. You have to be my friend, and when the tide comes up, you'll die, and no one else can have you. And then Cat-Eyed Boy is aware of this, but it's very strange because the Motomu disappears from the home that he saw him in all this time. So he goes looking for him, and it turns out that all this time Tetsuji was an imaginary friend of sorts for this lonely kid who used to imagine these things, and he had created him and then killed him off in his imagination. That's the saddest. That if your imaginary friend becomes more popular than you, and that's just really, really pathetic.
But what makes it sort of horrific is I don't even think about this anymore.
Right.
I had a moment of rage because my imaginary friend became more popular than me, and then I just don't even imagine anymore. And if it is the case that these stories have at their heart a sort of interest in morality, and specifically children's morality, the fact that this final story is about a child whose act of maliciousness, final act of maliciousness, is through imagination, the failure not only to make friends but also make friends inside their own mind,
right?
To even kind of love themselves a little bit, and to have maybe that, I maybe framing it like that is a little too maudlin, but just to be okay with themselves. Yeah.
And to not be able to laugh or not to be able to enjoy that
oh my goodness, yeah. And there's no playfulness to it. He's just it didn't work out, so I killed it. And Cat-Eyed Boy shows up as an attempt at a corrective.
Yes.
That's really all he can do in this.
Yeah. Try to imagine it again. Oh, I don't do that anymore. Tetsuji betrayed me. It's too bad if he's dead. And, which of course would be very, the kid's confused. There's no person. That's, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But of course there is a material, they find the body afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just and it goes to children fucking suck, and this story is the most, this story makes a lot of sense to me. Dealing with children, you have to teach a child empathy. You have to if you can get your kid to be empathetic, you're halfway there. You're halfway to do good work, success. But if you could fuck it up, and the kid's not going to learn empathy on their own. And this kid kind of hasn't, for whatever the reason. We don't have to really care much about that fact. What's most important is that it's showing something about childhood and the sort of fundamental cruelty of it, and even within the child's imagination. It really denies the innocence of children.
That's great. That's a great reading.
And Cat-Eyed Boy's sort of confrontation with that lack of innocence, and Yeah, it's very, very, very different. Like these last three stories, they're just very different than anything we've seen, and make the whole. I think I still would have asked us to talk about these stories, like just because he pisses on that dead body. And I was like, whoa, all right, well, we definitely have to talk about this one day because that's hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just kind of it goes a little. It takes a couple different turns. I'm interested in. I keep bringing up Orochi, but volume 3 and volume 4 haven't been released yet, and I'm curious if a similar trajectory is going to be found.
Oh, we'll tackle those one day, I'm sure.
Yeah. But because it gets more a little, mature is a strong word, but it does get some places. So yeah. So that's the cat-eyed boy. Any closing thoughts on that?
No. Are we you want to get to the judgment?
Oh yeah, I guess we could do. Yeah, you want to guilty or innocent?
I think we got to.
I think who are we judging here? Are we is it Umezz or the cat-eyed boy? The whole production?
Oh, that's a good question. It's never clear to me.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well,
all of it. The cat-eyed boy himself.
Yeah. Well, cat-eyed boy, guilty or innocent?
Well, the charges, of course, petty theft, loitering, a few cases of accidental murder, negligent manslaughter. But you know what? I think at the end of the day, the intentions were good, and cat-eyed boys are going to be cat-eyed boys, so innocent.
Oh, it's the Coach Kavanaugh defense. Very nice.
That's right.
Yeah. It's unusual for me to take the side of my friend here, but I think the entire cat-eyed boy enterprise is innocent. I think it's playful. I think it's carnivalesque, and yeah, any sort of property damage or anything like that, it is definitely like cat-eyed boys are going to cat-eyed boy, but really, like, he was trying to defend property against rampaging hordes of ugly Morlocks. You do the math.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, we need we need people like that out there. So I don't know. It's up to you. Next time we're going back to the Ito well, right?
Yeah,
that's going to be our next manga. So we're going to Tomi.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know why I hesitated on pronunciation on that one.
Oh, well, I mean, I think we're gonna have to look that up by the time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we're gonna. No, we won't. There's one thing you could be certain of. Two things you can be certain of. Extinction Agenda. Well, actually, the only one who's good at pronunciation is you. So Chris is going to know how to pronounce everything correctly, and the double Jameses are going to have no fucking clue. We might talk about Mordred for a whole episode and have to do a corrective. And then the second thing is go out there and you have to be certain you have to support labor right now. Go do it. Otherwise, that's that.
Now all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.